Welcome to another installment of Rags to Riches, where we start with a completely naked character and try to make him into a complete character. This time we'll be playing the Paladin. Why should you want to play the Paladin? Well, we have hammers, we have free max block, we have almost no magic immunities in the game, we have tons of damage with no gear at all, and we can also do Ubers. The only possible drawback is that without teleport, the character might feel clunky to some. Let's jump into the skill tree. You will want to put 1 point into prayer, 1 point into cleansing, and 1 point into defiance as their prerequisites for vigor, and then 1 point into redemption. You want to max out vigor because it's a synergy to blessed hammer. In the offensive auras, you want to put 1 point into might, 20 points into blessed aim. Again, this is a synergy for blessed hammer, and 20 points into concentration. This will be the main aura that you use because it increases the damage that you do with your hammers. For your combat skills, you want to put 1 point into smite, 1 point into charge as a prerequisite to holy shield, 1 point into holy bowl, and then you want to max out blessed hammer. Any remaining points you will put into holy shield. For your stats, pretty normal. You put strength as much as is required for your gear to wear. You put enough dexterity for max block, and the rest you will dump into vitality. Now, since we start with nothing, we will need to get some money. So, you open up a nightmare game, and then you head over to Eldritch and ask him really nicely if he'll give you some money. Sometimes he doesn't give you a lot, sometimes he will give you items. You pick all of those up and head back to town and then sell those. After you've killed Eldritch a couple of times and you have round about 100,000, you will want to head over to Anya. This is still a nightmare, and you are looking for boots that have 30 to 40% movement speed as well as some resistances, and gloves that also have resistances. If she doesn't put out, you hop into Nilathak's temple, head back out, and then talk to her again. And these have poison resistance. Poison resistance is the least important one. You want to look for something like fire or lightning resistance. These have fire resistance and dexterity. These would be cool. These you could buy. Other things you can look for is something like this. This has 19 lightning resistance. I think these ones that I just bought are better. And boots, again, you're looking for something with faster run, walk, and lightning resistance. I found these earlier on and I will keep them. In the same game, hop over to Larzuk and you're looking for a belt. He has nothing. You're looking for a plated belt of the whale. It can have a prefix such as garnet, which will give you fire resistance, but it's not really important. What you're looking for is belt size plus 12 slots, as well as a huge chunk of life. Something like anything above 80 is actually fine. If he doesn't have anything, you just go to the Frigid Highlands, go back to Harrogath, and check if he has anything now. Still nothing, but you get the idea. You want to look for something with 80 plus to life, and then you want to open up a normal game. In normal, you will want to talk to Charcy. You're looking for a 2-socketed helm that is gray, and you are also looking for a gray 2-socketed armor like this one. Notice how this one says hard leather armor and it's written in gray, whereas this one says cap of the mind. It could be something like jeweler's cap, which can have 2 sockets, but the name would be in blue. You're not looking for one that is in blue, you're looking for one that is in gray. So something like this is what you're looking for, and you will want to make the rune word stealth in it. The runes for that you get at normal countess, which you will run a couple of times. If she doesn't have a 2-socketed helm like right now, just go to any other spot, head back to her, And check if she has a 2-socketed helm now. No, but you get the idea. In that 2-socketed helm, you want to make the rune word Lore, which is Ord and Soul. These runes drop from the Countess in Nightmare. Afterwards, you want to talk to Farah, also in Normal, and you're looking for any 3-socketed shield. Again, the name needs to be in gray, like this large shield. Now, I already have one, Kite Shield, and you want to put in the runes Ral or Tal to make the rune word Ancient's Pledge. You get these runes by completing the quest 2 in Act 5. The last thing you're looking for, still in a normal game, is in Act 3 at Ormus. You're looking for any 20% faster cast rate wand. He sells a lot, so just check those out. This one, for instance, would be cool. 20%, maybe he has anything else. 20% faster cast rate and 37 lightning resistance. Now this would be an awesome thing to buy. I'll actually sell this one back to him. This one, I found this one earlier, which has 36 to cold resistance, and any of these are good, but a plain 20% faster cast rate does its job just as well. You are also looking for a weapon that has teleport charges. Make sure it has teleport charges and not plus to teleport skill, like this one has +1 to teleport, sorceress only. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a level 2 or level whatever teleport, 37 out of 37 charges. Any amount of charges will do, of course. Alright, that concludes the shopping part of this character. Up next, we want to create the rune word Spirit. Spirit can be created in a weapon, which needs to be a sword, and in a shield. For the shield, we have the luxury of using Paladin-only shields, which have lower requirements than any other 4-socketed shield, such as the Monarch. And they can also spawn with additional modifiers, such as all resistances. To that end, we open up a game in Hell and open up the Secret Cow level. What you're looking for is any 4-socketed shield, such as a Dimensional Blade. Now these have high strength requirement, which is not ideal. Broadswords have very low requirement, but any will do, even this battle sword. I used it because I found it and it's ethereal. I found that to be really cool. The runes you're looking for, of course, is Tal, Thul, Ord, and Am. Those drop in Nightmare Countess. For the shield, as I said, any Paladin shield will do. This one spawned with 7 to all resistances, but you can also find something like an Acheron Tarj, I'm not sure, which can spawn with 38 to all resistances, or even a Heraldic shield with 45 to all resistances. You don't necessarily need to look for an elite Paladin shield right now. If you find one, that's cool, but you don't necessarily have to look for one. Okay, so what do you want to be farming with this character? I personally think farming Hell Cows is a great way to start, since we're looking for rings and an amulet. We don't have any yet. Ideally, for the rings, you will want to find faster cast rate rings, and for the amulet, you want to have ideally a teleport amulet, barring that, an all resistances amulet. Why do we want faster cast rate rings? We are currently at least at the 75% faster cast rate breakpoint, since we're using double spirit, which has 25% faster cast rate each minimum, goes up to 35% of course, and we're using stealth. So we will have 75 up to 95 faster cast rate. If we have 95%, you can also look for a faster cast rate amulet, since that would mean you reach the 125 faster cast rate breakpoint. Another spot that you can farm, which is much more scary than cows, is Act 3 Travincal in Hell. This is more for people who are looking for a challenge. Our resistances are really bad. If you find a high resistance Paladin shield and perhaps high resistance rings and an amulet, that is something you can do. I would not advise you to do that if you're not certain whether you can do it or not. But I will. So what you do is you just charge through. Use Redemption. He has a Conviction Aura, and Conviction Aura lowers your resistances. You can see that the Hydras pop me really quickly, especially with the Conviction Aura. So I would not advise you do that. But the payout, of course, is really good. As you can see here in this example run, we find Q Hagens. Q Hagens is +1 to all skills and some faster cast rate, FHR. This is super nice to find early on. I'll actually use this. Other spots, Frigid Highlands in Act 5, where you want to kill Shank and Eldritch. This is a bit unfortunate that they spawn there. This can happen, so if you have a slow internet connection, this could just straight up kill you. Again, this is relatively safe. It's nothing compared to the Travincle. And these guys also die super easily. You just pop Redemption on them, pick up everything. Eldritch will always drop 2 items, so that's a nice thing to have happen. And then you can just, again, we have the teleport staff, so you can just teleport down there, start going ham on them. And then you kill Shank the Overseer. This is also a very safe spot. So whichever you please, these are the spots I would recommend. You can, of course, also go for Pindle. Personally, not a fan of it, so if that's your cup of tea, go right ahead. So let's jump into the juicy loot. The first noteworthy item is actually dropped on day number 2. It is a unique jewel, which of course is a Rainbow Facet. Rainbow Facets give +% elemental damage as well as reducing the enemy's resistance to that element. The elements can be fire, frost, lightning, or poison. And we find a -5 to enemy lightning resistance +3% lightning skill damage. It's a level up, but it's still good enough. This probably goes for a pull to an rune. Here we traded it for the pull rune, which I then traded away for Trang's gloves as well as a Vapor Magi. So since I had rotten luck so far, this is already on day 4, I decided to run some Nilathak. I just want to quickly get into the maps that there are. There are only 3 maps in the Halls of Pain. This is one of them, where you start at the waypoint and it kind of goes out to the bottom left. This map will always be the same. You just head all the way down. You don't go into the first left, but you head into the second left, go all the way through, go down to the right, and the Halls of Vought will always be there. So, for the Halls of Vought, quick explanation as to where Nilathak spawns, so you don't have to go into every corner. Now, you only have 4 possible corners: top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. You need to look at 4 different walls to discern where he is. We are looking for this wall with the 2 eyes, like the red eyes with the blue irises. If this picture is here, then he spawns on the bottom right. If it's here, he spawns on the bottom left. If the eyes are here, now this might look like it, but it's not it, right? There's no red eyes, there's no blue irises, this just looks like a face. If the eyes were here, he would be on the top right. And if the eyes are here, he's on the top left. Just a quick heads up so you don't have to look into every corner. On the 13th run, on day number 4, I find my first destruction key. As I said before, there's only 3 Nilathak maps, so this is the second one. When you go to the waypoint, you just head straight down. This looks like the map from before, but you can't go down here. So that means you follow the path all the way until you can't go further. Then you go up left, and then you go to the bottom left, to the top left again, and then to the bottom left again. When you've done all of that, you're in the Halls of Vought. And I find a Key of Destruction in the very same run. And this is the last Nilathak map. Now I played Dora the Explorer in here because I didn't know this map. What you do is you just head up to the left, top left, then bottom left, and then top left again, and you're already there. And on run number 16, we find another Key of Destruction. I go back to farming the Travincal. It's a bit more scary than Nilathak, but you can find lots of jewelry as well as charms here, such as this +1 to javelin and spear skills, +22 to life. This is currently going for 2 to 3 Istrunes, making it the first really valuable item that we find. So, on day number 5, I tried to trade away the javelin skiller that we found on day 4, and I run some Bale on the way. Now, a quick explanation about how the map is constructed. When you get to the waypoint in Worldstone Keep level 2, there is the bridge, and the bridge points to the top left in this case. When the bridge points to the top left, it means that the exit to the Worldstone Keep level 3 will always point to the top right. So you need to always go right. If it were to point to the bottom left, you would want to go to the top left. If it points to the bottom right, you would want to go to the bottom left. So always head right from the way that you pass the bridge. And as you can see here, it actually points to the top right. Now I died somewhere along the way, but I figured I would just show this map again. For the Worldstone Keep level 2, there is no way to know. Like, I had to run everywhere. It's just pick a direction, run, and good luck. So for the actual runs, what you want to do is you just want to spam your hammers where the minions will spawn. And it's actually kind of hard to do when you are a paladin without a mercenary, because the second wave is immune to magic. As you can see, I don't do anything. So I just pop out the Holy Bolt and I go ham on them. It takes a while, but it gets much better once you have a mercenary that deals damage. And I actually died trying to kill Bale, but you know, second time's the charm, as they say. So we drop a small charm, and charms that you drop from Bale are actually really worthwhile because they have the highest item level. And this one has +5 faster hit recovery and 9 fire resistance. I have no clue what it's worth. I don't really care because I want to use it myself. Another reason you want to farm the Travincal is because it has a high chance of dropping high runes, such as this low rune. This is my very first low rune I have ever found, and I'm super happy to have it. Now, because we found it, of course, we can make the character not so budget, because it goes for 12 to 13 Istrunes. This is actually a really worthwhile item, so that means I will make the character not budget at all. And here we traded for 13 Istrunes. As with the Javazon, I always try to make the runes into smaller runes and also try to get a worthwhile item. This tiara here has attack rating, which is irrelevant for us, but it has level 2 to teleport. This means I don't need to swap to my weapon swap to teleport, which means the FCR from the spirit will be available for the teleport, as well as it gives us a chance to block, which is always worthwhile. And here we get a Paladin torch with 12 to all attributes and 15 to all resistances for 2 Istrunes. Again, I personally prefer the all resistances over the attributes because the all resistances is what matters to me. Now you saw how poorly we dealt with the wave 2 in Bale. I figured I would get myself a mercenary. mercenary needs a weapon, so I find this Colossus Vulge, Ethereal Colossus Vulge with 4 sockets that a player offers for a pull rune and a few perfect gems. So we'll take it. Here we get ourselves a Mara's Kaleidoscope. I was debating on whether to get a Shaco and a Teleport Amulet, or a Tiara and Mara's. Since we have the Teleport Tiara, I figured I would get myself a Mara's. If I didn't have the Ist runes, or I didn't find the low rune, of course, I would have gone with the cheaper route, which is Shaco and a Teleport Amulet. And since we of course now have all the runes to create the rune word inside, I will do that. The runes of course are Raltiortal Soul, and we had that Ethereal Colossus Vulge that we got for a pull rune and a few perfect gems just now. It rolls 13 to Meditation Aura, which is the worst possible, 228% enhanced damage, which is also really bad, but it does not matter at all. Our mercenary currently has nothing, so this will be a gigantic upgrade for him. At this point, I do a mixture of cow runs, Travincal runs, and the occasional Bale run. This character is insanely lucky, as we already found a low rune, that Skiller, and now we find a Mal rune. And then, one run later, as I open another cow run, I find another Ist rune. And then just one run later, we drop this Grand Charm. Which turns out to be a 14 to all resistances charm. And like I said, Travincal is a great place for runes. We found our low rune here, and now we drop a gold rune. This character is super lucky. A gold rune is just before a Vex, and Vex marks the first high rune. Another great spot for runes, of course, is cows, and we drop a Lem rune. Since we're so lucky with the rune finds, I figure I would give my mercenary Andariel's Visage. Andariel's Visage is of course the best item that your mercenary can have, or the best helmet he can have, since it provides a lot of strength, a lot of IAS, and a lot of lifesteal. All these things are super good for him. The only downside that Andariel's Visage has is that it has negative 32 fire resistance, but you can always counteract that by putting in a Ral rune in it. Now the player who offers his Andariel's Visage for my Ist rune already put in a Ral rune, so that's super cool for me. If I wasn't so lucky with the finds, I would have given my mercenary either a G-Face, which is Guillaume's Visage or Guillaume's Face. I think it's Guillaume's Face. Or a Steel Skull. Both are really good items. Kira's Guardian, of course, is another one. But since we're so rich, I figure Andariel's Visage is awesome. So here we create the rune word Treachery, which of course is Shale Thul Lem. This has a 5% chance to cast level 15 Fade when struck, which is really good since it gives a massive boost to resistances. It also has 45% increased attack speed along with some faster hit recovery. We will want to use this on a mercenary. I didn't make it in an ethereal armor because, as I said in the beginning, I will want to also do Ubers with this character, and a Treachery is really good. Now, this is a Holy Freeze mercenary that can spawn in Nightmare. And just to quickly go over the gear, we have the Treachery that I just created, the Andariel's Visage that we just traded, and the Insight. While I look for the entrance to Tristram, I actually come across this gem shrine. And some of you might not know this, but a gem shrine will upgrade one of the gems that you have in your inventory. So I want to upgrade my Flawless Amethyst here. So I will click on it, and it will be a perfect amethyst now. I lose the Flawless Amethyst in the process, but I get a perfect one in return. And just a bit later, we get ourselves an Eric for 2 of our Ist runes. Now, why is Eric a good item? It gives us +1 to all skills, and also very importantly, 20% faster cast rate. Now we have Trangle's Gloves, which gives us 20%, and we have Eric, which gives us another 20%. So that's 40% plus our Viper Magi gives us another 30, so we're at 70, and then our Double Spirit gives us, math is hard, enough to reach the 125% breakpoint. And shortly after, we trade 30 perfect gems for a pole rune. Now you might be wondering, why do people want so many perfect gems? And the answer is they want to reroll mostly charms, I think, because if you use 3 perfect gems along with a charm or any magic item, you will re-roll the stats on that item. So when I first started this challenge, I figured Spirit would be good enough. But since we were so lucky with the runes, I actually found myself wanting a Hodo or Heart of the Oak. Spirit gives +2 to all skills, and ours has +32% faster cast rate. Hodo, on the other hand, gives +3 to all skills, 40% faster cast rate, along with all resistances +30 to +40. This one has +37, and I figure I would take this over the Spirit. So, since I have a Torch now, a Hodo, and a 45% all-res shield that I found somewhere along the way, I figure I do not need the Viper Magi. Now the Viper Magi, of course, is super good. It gives faster cast rate and it gives a lot of resistances as well as +1 to all skills. But since we can use Mars, which has resistance, that super awesome 45 all-res Spirit that I have, and the Hodo, as well as the Torch, which was not planned for at all, I figure I would use the Guardian Angel now. Why would I want that? It has +1 to Paladin skill levels, which is the same as +1 to all skills from Viper Magi, since we're not teleporting or using any non-class specific skills. Faster block rate, increased chance of blocking is nice, I guess, but it has +15 to maximum all resistances. That means that instead of 75, which is usually the cap, we can go up to +90, which of course reduces all the damage any element will do to us by 90%, which makes us super safe. And we trade it for just 1 destruction key, so that's really cool, since we can always get more destruction keys by running Nilathak. If I did not have the Hodo, I would be using Spirit. If I was low on resistances, though, I would be trying to find myself a Wizard Spike. Now, you just saw I picked up a unique bone knife, which of course is that Wizard Spike. Wizard Spike gives +50% faster cast rate, which is awesome. Maximum mana and mana is always nice. Regenerate mana, also cool, but 75 all resistances. Now that is a great item to have if you're low on resistances and on a budget. Now, early on I said I would also want to run Ubers. I found myself wanting a Guillaume's Face for it. Guillaume's Face is the top tier item that you want to have for a smiter. There's nothing else that you want. It has faster hit recovery, super good, 35% chance of crushing blow, 15% deadly strike, and some strength. Deadly strike means that you will deal double damage with your next melee attack or, well, the next physical attack. And 35% chance of crushing blow means you have 35% chance of dealing 25% of the enemy's current health as damage, and in hell it's 12.5%, so it's halved, but still 35% chance of dealing 12.5% of the enemy's current health. Now, Ubers have a lot of health, so having a lot of crushing blow is the main way of dealing damage to them. Here we get Dracules for a Malrune. Dracules have 10% life stolen per hit, which does nothing for Smite. Lifesteal does not work with Smite. 25% chance of open wounds, which means if there's a 25% chance that there's an open wound on the enemy. Open wounds deals a slight amount of damage. More importantly though, it means that the enemy that has it on them cannot heal. Ubers heal for a lot of health, so you want to have a chance of open wounds somewhere in your gear. Also gives 14% to strength. The thing that makes Dracul's Grasp stand out though is the 5% chance to cast level 10 life tap on striking. This is a really nice thing to have, and one of the first upgrades you would want to have as a smiter, but they're not necessary. I would not have gotten those if I didn't have the extra runes. Instead, I would have gone for something like 20% increased attack speed. So at this point, I'm running the Countess to find some keys, and on the way I find this boss pack, and he actually drops a unique ring which turns out to be a Ravenfrost. Now a Ravenfrost is also one of the items that you want on your smiter, since it provides you a source of cannot be frozen. This one actually rolls perfect 20 to dex and 221 attack rating. This goes up to 250. Attack rating does not matter for us as a smiter, since smite always hits. So here is a relatively new player. We chatted for a bit and it turned out he had recently started playing. So I figured, since I was so lucky with all the runes, I would pay him a Mal rune for the Griswold's Shield. The Griswold's Shield is totally unnecessary for running Ubers, but I want to have, first of all, I wanted to have it, so I figured I might as well get it. Additionally, I want to at some point have a full Griswold's Paladin, so I figure I would cross this off the list right now. Again, the most damage that you will deal to Ubers comes from your Crushing Blow. The shield does not really matter at all. So this one is, the Vortex Shield is probably the worst that you can go for in terms of elite shields, since it has a huge range of smite damage, 5 to 87, and it requires 148 strength. So it's really not a good item. But it has 45 to all resistances, which I liked. 3 open sockets, so I will shove in 3 perfect diamonds to get it to over 100 all res, and I figured it'd be a cool thing to have. Here I run more Nilathak because I want to find more keys, and I find a Grand Charm. Now, there's 3 bosses in the game that drop the highest level of Grand Charms, which are Baal, Diablo, and Nilathak. Now, this Grand Charm, of course, is worth nothing. It has attack rating and life. But this has the chance to roll 45 to life and +1 to a skill, say Paladin combat or Javelin skills or whatever. This can still happen when you re-roll it, like I said earlier, with 3 perfect diamonds. So you put 3 perfect diamonds and this one into your Heraldric Cube, and you have a chance of getting a +1 to skills, +45 to life Grand Charm. This can only happen with the aforementioned, or with the charms that drop of the 3 aforementioned bosses, Diablo, Baal, and Nilathak. Remember how I said I love running Travincal? Travincal drops high runes, it drops charms, it drops uniques, and one of those uniques are those chain gloves that I found here. Those are chance guards with 34% better chance of getting magic items. I think they roll from 25% to 40% MF. These are super good on any MF character and on Goldfind Barbarians. Now at this point I'm only running Travincal and Nilathak. This is actually the same run as I also found the chance guards in. Why do I run only these 2 things? First of all, Travincal, I like running it and I always feel like I have a lot of luck there, and Nilathak mostly to find the destruction keys. Why do I want to find so many destruction keys? I can always trade the destruction keys for another key. So if I can run Nilathak with pretty much no harm at all, I would always do that. So I figure I would also run the Countess, and not her, but one of her minions is nice enough to drop me another Mal rune. I am in a game that's called Need High Lords. High Lords currently goes from to Ist, which is a huge price range, and since I have a lot of items or a lot of runes, I figure I would just trade it for an Ist rune. The person will also add Gore Riders, which are super nice. As you can see, they have Crushing Blow. Again, this is the percent damage. 15% Deadly Strike, that's the double damage. It has chance of open wounds. Again, this makes it so that the enemy cannot heal and deals a slight little bit of damage. And also a High Lords. Now, High Lords gives +1 to all skills. Super nice, a bit more damage. 20% increased attack speed is what really matters here, along with the lightning resistance. If I were on a more budget build, I would use Goblin Toes, which actually have 25% chance of crushing blow, and I would be using Cat's Eye, which also has the increased attack speed, just doesn't have the 1 to all skills, and it doesn't have the lightning resistance. So I have this spirit in a heraldic shield that has 45% all resistances, and it only rolled 29% faster cast rate. So I use that rune word along with a town portal scroll and a hell rune to take out the rune word, which leaves the base shield, and I can re-roll it. Now I put in Tal, Thul, Ord, Am, which of course is the rune word for spirit, and I roll another 29% chance. Isn't that awesome? This is on day 8, and I'm actually farming Nilathak still. I still don't have all the keys, so I actually dropped 2 keys of destruction, which is super nice. That can happen sometimes. And now we're a bit closer to opening the Uber portals. So I traded this Kurist shield, which is an elite paladin shield, with 42 to all resistances for a Malrune and a destruction key. And I'm at Larzak right now, and I clicked on add sockets. And as you can see, it adds 4 sockets. I just wanted to show this because I said that in the beginning, but I never showed it. Now, the only thing that I still need for this smiter is a belt. And I gambled belts. It doesn't matter where you gamble them. What you want to get, though, is a mithril coil, because that is actually the elite base of the belts. So you will always buy belts when you gamble. Belts are the base item, and they have like a 1 in 10% chance to be upgraded to be mesh belts, and a 1 in 30% chance to be mithril coils. So what I did with that is I use a Tal rune along with those, with the mithril coil and any jewel. It doesn't matter which jewel you have. You put those in your heraldric cube, you transmute it, and you will get what's called a blood belt. It will always have a chance of open wounds. It will always have some amount of life. Now this one actually rolls really nicely. It rolls +9 to strength and some resistances. Most importantly, lightning resistance, and a high amount of life is actually really good. So this is what we will be using for our smiter build. So we already have our treachery, which of course is super nice and we can just use it. But I also have a 2-socketed Dusk Shroud here that I put the runes Nef-Lum into. Nef-Lum gives us the rune word Smoke, and that gives us +50 to all resistances. This is super worthwhile when fighting Ubers, so we can use our Treachery to get the Fade buff, and we can then put on Smoke to have a gigantic amount of resistances. So our equipment at this point is we have the Coronet of Teleportation, which is 2 to teleport, which is what matters. We have our Maras with 25 to all resistances. We have our Kurus Shield Spirit, which is 42 to all resistance base, and then of course only 25% faster cast rate, which is terrible, but it's enough to reach the 125% breakpoint, so it doesn't really matter. We still use our 30 faster run walk, 33 lightning resistance boots. I found this 10% faster cast rate, 23% cold resistance ring, arachnid mesh with the 20% faster cast rate, guardian angel. We have this rare ring with 10% FCR, which is what matters. 1 dex, 5 to mana, but most importantly, 14% fire resistance and 14% 14% MF. We have Trang-Ul's gloves. What matters here, of course, is the 20% faster cast rate, and we also like the 30% cold resistance. And then we have Hodo with 37% all resistances. That means we have 40%, 65%, 85%, 105, 115, 125% faster cast rate. So we reach the highest faster cast rate breakpoint. In our inventory, we have a torch. We have an assortment of resistance charms like this one, 10 fire resistance, 5 FHR plus 9 fire resistance. This one's really cool. 14 to all resistances, also very cool. 11 poison resistance, I don't even think I need this. 1 to dex, 9 lightning resistance, 7 fire resistance, 10 to fire resistance, and 7 to poison resistance. Our smiter gear as of this point is Guillaume's Face, High Lords, we have Smoke, we have Treachery, we have Black, which is a rune word that is Thul Io Nef. What matters here is 15% increased attack speed, kind of nice. 10 to vitality, sort of nice, but a whooping 40% chance of crushing blow. So that's the percent damage that you can deal to enemies, so this is super worthwhile when fighting bosses. We have Dracul's Grasp with 14 to strength, which is what matters, I guess. We have that Mithril Coil, which is 9 to strength, 70 to life, 7% chance of open wounds, lightning and fire resistance. A Raven Frost, another Raven Frost that I got from somewhere, I don't even recall. And our Gore Riders. We still are missing one thing that we definitely want, which is a life tap wand. So I opened up a game in Hell, and I talked to Akara. You go to Weapons, and then you look for a wand that has life tap charges. This one has +1 to life tap, Necromancer only, so this is not what you're looking for. We are looking for something like this, which has level 3 Zeal, just with life tap instead. She doesn't have anything. I already found one though. I bought it from her at some point. Level 5 life tap with 82 or 97 charges. This is what you want. This is super important to have when fighting Ubers, because without life tap you will just die. So before I start doing the Ubers, I want to maybe go for a more budget pair of gloves. I already have the Draculs, but imagining if I wasn't so lucky to get so many runes early on, what would I do? I would get myself a pair of Vampire Bone gloves that are magic, along with a random jewel, a perfect ruby, and a Nef rune. This will give you something that's called blood gloves, and these roll with a chance of crushing blow, which is what you want. I think they always have life, and they can spawn with mana and lifesteal. Again, this is irrelevant when you're playing as a smiter, but they can also roll with 20% increased attack speed. That would have been really nice, but unfortunately these didn't, so they're completely worthless. So I have traded my destruction and terror keys away to get the hate keys and all of that. So I have 3 key sets. A key set, of course, is always a terror key, a hate key, and a destruction key. You will need to be in hell to open up the portals, and you need to have a key set, you transmute it, you need to be in Act 5 in hell. So I just show my gear again, and then I will enter the Matron's Den.
That's what she said.
The Matron's Den is the hardest one of them all. Oh, I forgot to put on the Gore Riders. The Matron's Den is the hardest one of them all, since Lilith deals a ton of physical damage and a lot of poison damage. So I tried to make this a bit less than complete budget, since I have those Dracools and I have Gore Riders instead of Goblin Toes, but it's still a relatively budget build. As you can see, I just casted Life Tap on her, and the idea is that, well, first of all, you will probably die, so if you have gold in your stash, transfer it over to your shared stash, since it will not be taken from there. Cast Life Tap on her, and then start smiting away. As you can see, her life goes down relatively quickly, which is because of the crushing blow. You can see the animation, that huge hit that comes when you strike her. I don't know, I think I have not 100% crushing blow, but it's pretty close to it. Since this is a budget kind of build, we don't have exile, we don't have grief, we don't have a lot of resistances. Dying is normal. That's what I'm trying to say. Eventually, though, we do kill her, and we can move on to the next portal. So for those of you who don't know, you always want to open up all the portals in the same game, since if you open them up in a different game, there is a chance that you will spawn the same portal again. So we've already cleared the Matron's Den. The red portal to the top here is the Matron's Den, where Lilith resides. So we already opened it, we cleared it, so it will not open again. Now we're in the Forgotten Sands, which is where Duriel is. What you can do against Duriel is you can go to Mala and take a lot of thawing potions. Same idea. Use Life Tap on him. I didn't swap back here, so I'll take a death. And that is something that happens every now and again. So if that happens to you, it's the easiest way is to just log out, get back into the game, and try it again. Otherwise, you can die again because of the whole lag that there is when getting into a new zone. But after a few attempts, cast Life Tap on him, then swap back to your Smite and start hitting him. Again, the most damage comes from the Crushing Blow, which is that big animation that you see every now and again. Make sure to recast Life Tap whenever it's about to drop off, especially if you don't have Dracools. If you have Dracools, you will probably recast it anyways because they have a chance of casting it. Eventually he dies and you pick up the organ that he drops and you go for the next portal. The easiest boss of them all is in the Furnace of Pain, which of course is where Israel resides. I like teleporting through it because it's a pain to get anything done without the correct gear for it. Since we have a source of teleport, I always figure why not. We can see him spawn over there. So we teleport over. Again, he is the easiest of them all. The neat thing is that he will also teleport after you. So you can just head back, do whatever it is that you need to do, drop your gold, get corrupting potions, or if you're like me, get your life tap wand, put your skills in order, get your G phase and all that kind of stuff. So you will have an easier time killing him, because killing Ubers without a chance of crushing blow is just a pain. Heal up. You put the curse on him, the life tab, and you can see how much easier he is. He has a very small health pool compared to the others. The crushing blow does a ton here, but also just the base damage that we have. You pick up the last organ, and then you open up the portal to the Uber. So, Ubers. First things first, you want to equip your Treachery, get outside of Harrogate, and sit inside the fire until your Fate procs. You will want to have maxed out resistances, because Uber Mephisto has a Conviction aura that reduces your resistances by a metric shit ton. I don't know how much it is, but it's a bunch. So just sit in here until your Fate procs, and then afterwards equip your smoke. You can see it by your character turning a bit see-through, and your resistances will be white when they're maxed out. Otherwise they have this golden color to it. So here I search for my smoke, which I of course gave to my mercenary. So I want to take it away from him. Deposit all the gold to make sure, because I will most likely die, I just want to make sure that I don't lose a lot of gold. Head back into Tristram. I already did that, I didn't show it, but I drank a bunch of thawing potions, because they also increase your frost resistance. So then what you do is you just life tap Mephisto and hope you don't get one-shotted. Your mercenary will always die, there's no point in having one, I just had it because I wanted my smoke armor back. So he dies, he doesn't drop anything, you will only get an item at the very end. You cannot open a portal in here, which I definitely knew, and I didn't make that mistake. Trying to open one, then you have Bale and Diablo over there. You will always try to only fight them one by one, but they're not so scary. Mephisto is the really scary one. Again, you just life tap them, and then you smite them. You let your crushing blow do the rest. Now here I fight both, unfortunately, and I try to stay alive, but I think I actually take death relatively soon. And since we're on a budget, it does not really matter, like it just happens. Life tap falls off here, so that's a pain. Holy Shield also fell off, so that's a big issue. Since you don't have the max block, you don't have fast block, so even if you block, it just takes forever, and you die. It happens, I don't really mind. Eventually though, you can always relog, or get back in to get your character back, because it's super hard to try and get your body back while you are fighting them. Since the minions will spawn and all of that, it's just not fun. So just straight up go for take the easy route, just relog. You lose some experience, but it's just much easier that way. So again, you cast life tap again. Bale is almost dead. I do not swap back, because that's just what happens sometimes. You hit him, And you don't need to pre-buff. This is maybe the one thing that I should also mention here. You don't need the super high amount of resistances against Diablo and Bale. You just need them for the conviction aura that Mephisto has. So there's a lot of enemies around here, which is not fun, but it happens. You know, they spawn and there's nothing you can do about it. If you have a mate that can help you out with that, that's cool. If you don't, you will die once or twice more. It's not a big deal. You can always log out of the game and log back in. Eventually, we smited them down, smote them down, smitten them down. We killed them, and we identified the torch, which turns out to be a gigantic 3 to Barbarian, 11 to all attributes, 13 to all resistances charm. Lucky that it's almost Christmas, I will be giving this away to someone for free. Alright, so that is it. There is nothing that this character cannot do, especially with the Mercenary. You can even kill the second wave at Bale. So there is nothing in the game the character is incapable of doing. Now, of course, I was super lucky with the low rune find, and if I did not find that, the character would be nowhere near as strong, right? Fine. So what would I have done differently if I didn't find it? I would not have the Hodo, so that would be a Spirit, which I would probably re-roll to have 35% faster cast rate. This means we would be missing +1 to all skills and 37 to all resistances. That's a lot, that's not cool. I would then be using a Shaco, which gives +2 to all skills, some attributes, a lot of life, a lot of mana, and some MF. And I would not be using the Maras, but instead I would be using a Teleport Amulet, so another all resistances that's gone. I would not have a Kurist Shield, but you can definitely find a high resistance Paladin shield. I mean, I have a 38 to all resistances here. I have a 45 here, a 42 that I traded for. So it's definitely possible to find something here. The boots, I would still use the same. The ring, I would still use the same. Or anything that has faster cast rate is awesome. You don't necessarily need to go for something with resistances and faster cast rate. For the armor, I would be using a Viper Magi. That gives the FCR and all resistances. If you want to go the extra mile, you can even put in an Umrune to have even more resistances. I'm not exactly sure how much resistances you would be missing. The one item that would be missing a lot would be, or that I would be missing a lot, would be the Arachnid Mesh. That's -1 to all skills and -20% faster cast rate. Do I have I think I gave away the Viper Magi. Oh well. Viper Magi I think gives 30%, so we would be working with 30% faster cast rate. I would re-roll this to be a 35%, so that's 65%, and then a 35% faster cast rate Spirit instead of the Hodo. That puts us to 100% faster cast rate. Then with Triangles you're at 120, and then one FCR ring, you're still at the maximum faster cast rate breakpoint. So that would not be that big a drawback actually. So we would just be missing 2 to all skills, and definitely we wouldn't have the maximum all res, but it's not that big a deal. And we would probably not have a torch. But if I didn't have a torch, I would probably trade away the unit torches for 4x3, which is 4 keys of each. So 4 hate keys, 4 terror keys, and 4 destruction keys. And then keep doing that until we have enough to keep running Ubers over and over again. and then eventually we will get a Paladin torch. So even if we didn't find the low rune, it would not have been that big a difference. Our mercenary, of course, would not have Andariel's visage, but that's okay because we would just give him the G-face. I would not have the Griswold's shield, but again, that is not that big a deal. You can use any. I mean, the difference in smite damage is 48 to 57 versus 50 to 135. Now that is a lot of damage, but compared to how much life the Ubers have, it does not really matter. The big damage, of course, comes from the crushing blow. If I didn't have the Dracools, I would just use any 20% increased attack speed gloves. Those you can shop at Anya in Hell or in Nightmare. We have the life tab one, so it doesn't really matter. We found the Raven Frost, or you can just use a very cheap one. That's also okay. And we would not have the Gore Riders, but we would use Goblin Toes. And Goblin Toes is easily, you can find that very easily. Oh yeah, and High Lord's Wrath, of course. It's a big deal. I mean, it gives 35% lightning resistance and 1 to all skills and the increased attack speed, but a Cat's Eye that I probably have somewhere or not. Well, a Cat's Eye would then be the amulet of choice. So, all in all, I believe just because of the low rune, I over-engineered the Paladin. There's no need to have all of these expensive items. Yeah, so that is actually the end of the video. If you enjoyed this and if you played along, that's super awesome, and I appreciate you. If you didn't find it awesome, well then that's too bad. I guess I just wasted your time. Either way, have a great time. See you guys in the next installment of Rags to Riches. Bye!